right? The market's irrational in the short term, but it's usually very accurate pricing things in the long term. That was exactly what I talked about earlier, like 9 months of supply shock. The market did not have even an inkling of how to price that in until eventually the supply ran out and they had to figure that out. So like right now, we're in this zone where the market is ridiculously irrational and caught up in fear. And the supply shock currently values Bitcoin at above 50,000 if you can shake off the fear. The velocity valuation of Bitcoin is in the high 40s. Supply shock is in the 50s. Stock to flow ratio is, what is it, close to 70,000? These are the fundamental valuations on Bitcoin. And the market is stuck in fear mode in the 30s. I kind of suspect that it's more than fear. I think that it's being manipulated down for more accumulation. Massive amount of accumulation happening right now.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's often the market is game theoretic to make the smartest and richest trader more money.
Yeah, I mean, the longer we go sideways, the more
do you trade like that?
I mean, I don't trade much anymore because Bitcoin went so high that I had the luxury of becoming a really passionate investor and not having to bother trading, which is something that I've always, traded with a small part of my stack. But I personally, I believe that this is an exceptional time to buy. I mean, I like a 55% discount on an asset that I want to retire on.
It's ridiculous.
And I don't care if it goes to 20 or 25, it's irrelevant. Right. So, and that, sure, that could happen, but everything I'm seeing now, sort of like you're talking about, once again, now we sort of have people getting impatient, price ranges endlessly, and eventually they wouldn't have sold at 35, but now they think 35 all of a sudden is a great place. And we're seeing those newer speculators getting impatient and selling back into the hands of whales who are accumulating, and the real whales, not the noob whales.
Yeah, the real ones, the ones that are really stacking. We're in a zone where the smart money has completely stopped selling. It's at a local minimum. We call this destruction. This is another metric. You can look at the age of the coins moving per volume, moving between investors. And whenever it reaches a low of destruction, meaning those coins that are moving between investors are young. That means the sellers are noobs at maximum noobishness. And whenever that bottoms, that's a time to buy, and it's just bottomed in this last week. We're at max noob selling, and the OGs are not selling. So that's they're buying, right? So that's another one right now. If you wind back the clock to 2018 to now, the network growth in terms of users you can see on the blockchain, it's gone parabolic, right? It doesn't go parabolic, like the user growth on the net. I'm talking about parabolic on a log chart, like we're used to.
Yeah.
Normally it does that sort of, it grows and then it starts to taper. The growth rate starts to taper off. For the last 3 years, the growth rate has been going parabolic. Never been seen before. So is it an inflation hedge? Well, don't look at the price, look at the fundamentals. It is. Right. People are flying into Bitcoin. It's not being reflected in price because the price action is irrational, and sometimes it's suppressed by very strong hands that are scooping more. So there's all sorts of weird effects, like Elon Musk effects on the short-term price. But when I look at on-chain, I filter all the noise out, and I can see the long-term movement in capital and fundamental valuations on this network. And price doesn't often it tracks, but not always. And when it doesn't, those are great opportunities, because never in the history of Bitcoin has the fundamentals been not played out. They always play out.
Yeah,
it just
always catches up.